Hey guys. All right, so we just got home last night from our 11-day vacation and it was wonderful. However, I was kind of nervous being gone. If you'd watched the Next Level Homestead channel, I kind of gave you a preview of what was going on before we left. A lot of stuff going on that I was trying to fix last minute. Well, all of that stuff pretty much held. The water watered, although I think with the heat we had, it didn't water enough. We've got quite a bit of death up here in the cottage garden. So I'm gonna start this tour in the cottage garden and then we'll move over to the vegetable garden and go on around. So first off, our sweet peas have pretty much completely died. I'm not surprised at all. They are a cool season crop and they were doing fine in the lower 80s, which was great and a surprise. But when it came to the 90s, we're not pushing triple digits yet. I know some of you are, but we are moving that direction. And so, you know, there was no way those sweet peas were going to hang on. The Clarkia has kind of moved on in several different places. The Amimagus is looking dry. Now, I've never grown this before. Of course, this one's completely dead. However, I'm thinking maybe it's more on the cooler side of things. Foxgloves are doing well. This dahlia is not doing well. I think there's a lack of water there. The delphiniums, they're not cut out for hot weather either, so, you know, I'm not surprised to see them kind of languishing. The clary sage, this one is starting to be bloomed out. I need to cut it back. Cutting back and deadheading is going to be the name of the game for the next few days. The clary sage on this side just started blooming while we were gone, so it still looks good. Leaves are green and healthy looking. But here again, the Amimagus is just giving up. This dahlia is flowering its socks off. This bed is still suffering from some kind of nutrient deficiency, probably nitrogen. There was a stump right here that was ground out, and I tried to get a lot of the shavings out, but I didn't get them all. There was no way. It was mixed in with the soil. So this first year is probably going to be a little poor up here, but next year they should all be kind of composted down and things should be better. Now, I thought about cleaning everything up before having this tour. In fact, most of the time we do this tour at the very end of the month where we got another week or so left. However, I felt that I'm sure there's a lot of you out there dealing with heat and maybe you're still trying to get your watering situation figured out, or maybe you went on vacation too and you're feeling really bad about yourself for whatever reason, and just show you that I am not immune to any of this. So let's keep looking at the carnage. I'm noticing there is a gopher mound that came up in the middle of this lavender. And one right here as well. Now, since we've had Scar, our barn cat, since he's been on patrol, I have really seen a dramatic decrease in gopher mounds. In fact, I haven't seen one in probably 2 months. This is the first. So I got to get a trap set in here, but overall, the gopher situation is much more handled than it was 9 months ago. This ageratum is really doing well. I've never grown this before. I think one of the best growing things we had since we were gone is all of this Nicotiana. Look at this. It smells so good. It smells like I'm back in Hawaii. These are so fragrant. Look over here. White and pink, just a sea of it. Now I'm thinking I'm having some earwig damage, unless it's the squirrels eating these dahlias. They are. This is the squirrels for sure. They're eating the sunflowers. But let me not pass up on some of the best looking dahlias we've got here. Now, unfortunately, these are all unnamed varieties from a Costco pack, but nonetheless, I like them. If you saw the video before I left, you knew that my melons were being eaten up by rabbits, so I covered them with tulle and bird netting. They are coming back. They had no leaves on them 12 days ago when we left, so they are putting back out. And the tulle, no rabbits have touched what's underneath it. The bird netting, on the other hand, you can see that wherever they were able to get a leaf through the netting, they did. So this one has the bird netting, this one has the tulle, and you can see which is best. Same thing with these bigger ones in the back. They've got the bird netting on them. These obviously grew through the bird netting and were taken. Squirrels have been stripping the tops of the blackberries off. Most of these pumpkins are doing well. I'm a little bit disappointed on one of the dahlias that I was most looking forward to, and that was Cafe au lait. It does not look like any of the catalog pictures. So I'm not sure what the deal is, but this is not how I've seen them looking. Another nice dahlia. I gotta get some fertilizer on these because I know this one here is Chilson's Pride. It's supposed to be pink and white, and the pink is pretty much gone. So I'm gonna add fertilizing to the deadheading and cleaning out list. Now, if you stand back and look at the cottage garden from afar, it doesn't look that bad. So I'm just gonna hang my hat on that for now. All right, on to the vegetable garden. The good news is all of the watering seems to have worked. The bad news is I didn't do a lot of cleaning out before I left, and so this needs a major clean out. We do have a lot of overripe fruits. You can see the yellow squash here is way past what it should be. The zucchini is way past what it should be and being completely eaten on by squirrels. Look at these things. Oh yeah. The tomatoes are looking a little wild. I didn't have someone to prune them and train them while I was gone, so I'm gonna have to get in there and make that happen. I have my dad looking after the cucumbers as well as the animals. And I asked him to focus on these and keep training these up because I definitely am working on a how to grow cucumbers guide video. And so I wanted to make sure they were acting their best. And we have lots and lots of overripe fruit in here. So those are just gonna be taken off and given to the chickens. The sweet potatoes are running rampant in these two beds, looking very healthy. And then here are my giant onions. Now, it was not time to harvest before I left because the necks were not breaking over. Some of them still aren't. However, lots of them are. So tomorrow, Sunday, I will be doing a harvest of these onions. I'll talk to you about how to harvest them, how to cure them so they store longer, and weighing these to see just how big they are, because I think definitely a record for me, the size of these. So I'll let you know how I got them that big. So stick around for tomorrow. I meant to get this fennel out of here before I left, but ran out of time. And so it's basically a fennel forest at this point. Look, it's towering over me. Still bringing in the beneficial insects though. In the last garden tour, I neglected to show you the peppers that I planted out. If you remember, they were stunted because of the cold weather, but it looks like they're coming out of it now. In fact, they're getting ready to need to be tied up. We've got some flower buds on there. Ugh, look what the squirrels have done to these. Time to put out some traps. Oh no. What is going on? This is as dry as a bone. That's moist. For some reason, this bed is not moist at all. It's completely dry, which may be why the zucchini looks like this. Here's the problem. Right before I left, I planted shishito peppers and habanada peppers. And if you guys have been following me for 3 or 4 years, I've tried habanada peppers every year and failed. The one time that I got them to work, or at least grow up to where they look like they were gonna be thriving, is right before we moved. So I never got any of the fruit off of that. And this year I really thought I was gonna make it. The seedlings produced, they were growing. I wanted to make sure I got them in the ground before we left. And now they are completely gone. It was great to get away on vacation, but then you come back and you just see what has happened and you wonder, is it really worth it? Yes, it was. All of this can be remedied, which I will get started on. I did need that vacation. Now over here in the Mediterranean garden, we had another water issue. All of these artichokes looked great before we left, and now they're very dry. This Russian sage, the tips are dry. Fortunately, the bottom is still looks alive, so I should be able to save that. But this purple sage, This oregano looks completely dried out. The yellowing leaves on the lavender show me that that is too dry. This sage here is just kind of curling up its leaves and it just looks parched. And this thyme looks almost dead. Now this was the first thing I noticed when we got home. And I think I know the issue. Before we left, I had pots and cuttings and things that I did not want to have a problem with. And so I put them over here under this shade cloth. And I'm happy to say that everything looks good. I put several of these micro sprinklers hooked up to the drip. And unfortunately, even though this all looks good, it's on the same drip line as the Mediterranean herb garden. And so I think it took too much water for those sprinklers and I didn't get enough output here on this end. That should have been tested before I left, and it wasn't. If there was one success story while we were gone, it was the Greenstock Tower. If you watched the video on the Next Level Homestead channel when I was getting ready to leave, I hooked up the automatic watering system to this, and apparently it worked. In fact, I ate 3 big juicy strawberries off these just a few hours ago. As far as the tropical plants, these alocasia look great. The white ginger looks great. The monsteras look great. The plumerias are waking up, starting to leaf out. This entire side looks good. The avocado tree that I put under this shade cloth and on drip to hold it over, because I needed to get the wire for the gopher baskets. It's doing good. We've got new growth here. So overall, could things have been better? Yeah. However, seeing that we had such a water issue right before we left, it could have been a lot worse. So, I mean, really the main thing is cleanup, deadheading, pulling out dead plants, cleaning up over in the vegetable garden, planting new things, getting this gopher. But ultimately, you know, nothing super important or expensive died. Even if it's just hanging on by a thread, I can get it through. So I know this has been a different type of tour, maybe shorter than usual, but I'm still tired. Like I said, we've only been home 24 hours. I barely slept last night. So I'm just gonna look forward to getting all this cleaned up and beautiful for next month's tour. See you next time.